pricing your home for sale, it can be really tempting to list it for the highest price you could possibly imagine it selling for. But in truth, that can be the riskiest strategy. In this video, I'm going to tell you why that strategy is risky and what 3 strategies I use to help my sellers sell their home for the most money. My name is Betsy Repaske, and I've been a realtor for about 10 years, and I've sold over 90 homes at this point. So I'm pretty familiar with how to price a home for sale and what works and what doesn't. Because as much as I can advise you, at the end of the day, we list your home for the price that you want to. But here are 3 pieces of advice that I think you should follow when listing your home. Our 3 strategies are based around how your home is priced compared to the comparable sales. So the first thing we need to do is pull those comparable sales. There's a common knowledge that you pull a mile radius, but the truth is up here in the mountains, neighborhoods can shift pretty quickly. So I prefer to try to stay within your neighborhood as much as possible. And if we need to pull outside the neighborhood to get additional comps because we don't have enough recent sales, then we'll do that. But the closer, the better. The other thing we look for is how similar level of finish a home has. Does it have the same kind of countertops as you? What do their light fixtures look like? How recently have they updated? What about the flooring? And based on how similar the levels of finish are, we'll adjust our comps a little bit so we can say, okay, well, this home isn't quite as nice as yours. How much would it cost to make it as nice as yours? And we'll make that adjustment when we're looking at the price per square foot between you. We look at actives, pendings, and solds, and the weight we give them goes actually in the reverse order of that. Solds carry the most weight when we're pricing your home because we know that a buyer actually paid that. Pendings are the next because pendings have an accepted offer, and based on days on market, we can estimate how close to the purchase price the seller got. The ones that are active we want to look at because those are going to be your competition if we're listing soon. But a buyer hasn't actually agreed to buy a home at that price, so that's not a number that we can take as like an actual given, like, okay, the home is worth that much, because a home is only worth as much as a buyer is willing to pay. So now that we have your comps, we could price slightly above the comps. And the reason we would want to do this is if we were in a really hot seller's market where we have a good chance of getting multiple offers kind of regardless, but we don't want to list too high. If we list too high above the comps, this is where it gets risky, because if we list too high and the buyers in the market in general reject your home price and don't bring us an offer, you're going to age on market. And there are plenty of listings out there in almost any market that are overpriced and have aged on market, and buyers think there's something wrong when in truth, the only thing wrong with them is their price. But buyers will assume that if another buyer didn't want it, that they don't want it either. So we don't want to give buyers that impression by shooting too high. If we list over the comps, I really don't recommend listing any more than 5 at the absolute top, 10% over the comps. And again, we only want to do this in a market when we're almost certain that we're going to get multiple offers. Our next, less risky option is to price even with the comps. And this strategy works in most markets. So other than maybe, say, a really hot buyer's market where we need to create demand, which we use our last strategy for, otherwise pricing right even with the comps is a pretty safe strategy. And in a hot seller's market, odds are we're still going to get multiple offers and we're going to get bid up to where the market thinks your home is worth if homes have been going up in price month over month, because solds reflect where the market was about 30 to 45 days ago, pendings 2 to 3 weeks ago, and actives are what homes are trying to get now. So long as we're confident that we're gonna get offers in a reasonable time frame and we don't need to create demand, the market will create that demand for us if we're priced even with our comps. So the last one, which I think sellers find least appealing until we explain the reasoning behind it, is to price just under the comps. And it's pretty much the opposite mentality of pricing above the comps. If we price too high, buyers are going to reject it and we're not going to get anybody through. If we price just below the comps, and especially if we're just below the other actives in your area, buyers will get excited about that, and we can create demand that might not be there otherwise. Sort of like buyers can reject a home just for price. Buyers, if we price it just under the comps, might come see your home just because of the price. And once buyers are in a home, is we can get them to have an emotional connection to it, and that's how we get offers. And if we're just below the comps and we get multiple offers, we'll get bid back up over those comps. Agents will look at those comps, and that's how they'll base how high they're writing their offers. In order, right? If we're pricing over, it's gotta be a hot seller's market. If we're pricing even with the comps, pretty much any market. If we're pricing just below the comps, that again, we can use in pretty much any market, except for maybe a really hot buyer's market where there's a ton of inventory. And then we wouldn't want to do that. Then we'd want to list for the exact price that we're hoping to get it sold for. So I hope those strategies are helpful and that maybe they changed your thinking a little bit on how to price your home. If you live up here in the mountains of Colorado and are interested and getting a competitive market analysis, a CMA, which is what we do for all of our sellers. Those are available at any point in time if you just sort of want to know where the value of your home is sitting. I'd be happy to run one of those. You can find my contact information in the description below, or just follow me on Instagram and you can find my contact information there as well. I hope you subscribe to this channel so you can learn more about selling your home for the most money.